It's the Titterpigs, the RPG podcast. Am I getting paid for this one?
Everything look good on your end?
Yep. So let me unmute us. Boop. Boop. There we are. Okay. And let's see here. Yeah, we're figuring this out as we go for anyone who's watching. So we are live. Hold on a second. I apologize as we kind of take a gander at this.
Yeah, welcome to our 4th of July shenanigans.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, close.
While Scott fiddles around with controls on OBS and YouTube and all that stuff, for anybody that's watching, listening, well, hi, bud. So there's the YouTube chat. You can chat with us in through that or through that. I can't English today, even though I am wearing the English hat. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes.
So you can do that, and we will respond that way. We can see it, and you can be part of our shenanigans while we drink beer and do things that Americans do on the 4th of July. Drink beer and blow shit up. Oh, wait, we're not blowing anything up today.
Okay, I'm checking if the chat is working here. So, hi, bud. So hopefully.
Look at that.
Okay, well, this is a good moment to ask our viewer or current viewer if we're sounding okay. Hopefully we are. This is a kind of a last minute thing that we've decided to do. And, even though I'm a computer-ish guy, I am not a technical giant. So we just threw this together with a gumption and tape and good old American ingenuity. And so hopefully this is broadcasting fine. So I guess when we do a live stream, we just talk naturally and I'll keep an eye on the chat and see. He says, I can't hear any of you.
Okay. Wait, I'm really hoping Bud's being a smart ass today.
Right. Hopefully. Hey, Tor, can you hear us, Tor? Because I don't know if Bud's messing with us or not.
Or Tony, can you hear us? I'm really hoping you guys can hear us. Okay.
Thank you.
So Tony can hear us. So Bud's just being the royal pain in the ass today.
Bud's
all right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. The panicked look on Steven's face.
Trust me, we worked on this for like a half hour beforehand.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Tor.
All right.
Bud.
So, well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Titterpigs 4th of July Ungrateful Colonials Day Hangout broadcast stream, something or other. And,
impromptu podcast?
Impromptu? Well, no, because we have absolutely no idea what we're going to be talking about. So
that's why it's impromptu.
Exactly.
It is scheduled, but we have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Right. Well, anyways, why don't we start with, hi, everyone. Welcome. For those of you, over in the UK or outside of the US, I hope you're enjoying your Happy Treason Day. For those of us here in the US, I hope you also are enjoying your 4th of July. I did a bit of celebrating yesterday because my wife, she teaches summer school. So rather than party it up today, we had people over yesterday. And I'm recovering. We all tied one on last night. And so I'm kind of, taking a bit of the hair of the dog that bit me.
Nice.
And to see if that can kind of help calm me down. I think a majority of the issues that we were having getting this set up was me not being able to focus. So if that's the case, yeah.
Oh,
But, oh yeah, no, I mean, Keith, I don't mean to alarm you, but we do have a surprise guest. As Bud announced, any moment now, we are going to have a special person on, and near and dear to your heart.
That's just so fantabulous. Well, then let me pound this beer and go get about 6 more.
Yeah.
No.
So, anyways, yeah. So, what's new with you, Keith? I mean, you're.
Oh God, what's new with me?
Yeah.
A lot of reading, a lot of procuring of books. For those that can see over my shoulder here, the ginormous elephant sitting there, laying on its side on the shelf under the DCC book. That is the Weird Frontiers book. That thing is 2.5 inches thick. I got that in the mail the other day. That thing is a monster. Haven't really cracked it open yet, but that is a sizable, impressive book. Let's see what else. I am reading. I got this. Since we were actually on camera this time instead of recording and on camera just to ourselves, I got Brand Colonia as a belated birthday gift from our friend Pookie. So muchas gracias, Pookie.
Are you enjoying it?
I'm about a third of the way through. It's actually a quite intriguing book. It's fantastic. I like it.
Yeah.
This may be something I decide I really want to run here in the near future if it continues to read out the way that it is. It's really piquing my interest. So yeah, I like its concept, and I am reading Black Sites for Delta Green. So I'm reading through those scenarios. So that's what I've been spending my time doing lately. That and writing some stuff for the blog. It's been keeping me busy. Now,
didn't you run something yesterday?
I did. Danger in the Air for Dungeon Crawl Classics. It was the Free RPG Day scenario for this year's Free RPG Day. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, so I will keep it to that. It was fun. I ran it for 4 players. 3 were DCC veterans that have played before. 1 was a DCC newbie. All had a good time. I give it 2 thumbs up as a good module, but there are some.
Okay, go on.
I'm going to be kind. This looks like it's really good writing. I like Michael Curtis's work. It needs some TLC from the editor or proofreader.
This looks
like it was slammed together pretty quickly.
This is the Free RPG Day entry, right?
It is.
Okay. I mean,
it's not up to their normal standards, unfortunately.
Right.
When you read a thing and it says on a save, it says on a success, this happens. And then followed right behind on a success, this happens. Things like that.
Okay.
So where it should say on a failure, this happens. And then on a success, this happens. Little things like that.
I'm switching between water and beer because.
Nice. But aside from those little quirky bits, it played out nice. Took about 5 hours to play, but it was my first time behind the screen, the DCC screen in, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So I had to put the training wheels back on for a little bit, but it all came right back to me.
That's good to know. I mean, yeah, typical.
Yes, but typical editor review. I know, bud.
But no, I mean, that's not that Free RPG is an excuse, for anything, I guess, even subpar or whatever. But I mean, there are reasonable expectations in anything like that. So,
right.
I mean, what was the one from last year? Was it Bass Grim, right? Was that one from last year or one of the ones from Free RPG?
Well, that was one of the ones. It was a Morkborg-esque inspired game, little pamphlet size one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one that I read through and ran because when I was going to run the DCC Day game or the Free RPG Day game, unfortunately, no one showed up. Much to your benefit and anyone else that I sent out free RPGs to, whoever I sent them out to, but because he had, my friend Darren, who runs a game shop here in Corona, Critical Hit Games. If you're ever out here, go check it out. But he didn't do it this year because, I mean, believe it or not, and you know this, but the Free RPG Day packs aren't free.
No, and they're quite expensive.
Yeah, at least not for the game store.
I think the retailers pay about $125 a box. And the expectation is they can kind of set the parameters, but they have to give the content away for free. Now they can give it away if somebody buys a certain dollar value in product in the store, whether it be books, snacks, things other than RPGs, runs games at the store, whatever it is, they can set some parameters to it, but the intent is they have to give it away for free. They can't outright sell it.
Right.
Until some time has passed, but during in and around that time, it has to be free.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not cheap unless they buy several boxes, and then there's a slight discount. But
and that's what he did. I mean, you know, I always promote his store every moment I get, and you know, I'll send out a bunch of information to help promote it. And he bought, I think, 3 boxes. You know, which he still has quite a bit of it left, mind you. And you know, if you want it, you can order it from him. But yeah, there was, you know, that bright and cheerful, innocent, you know, person was just like, you know, and I'm there, and the hours are ticking by, and no one's showing. There's people are showing up, but you know, it's the typical Magic the Gathering crew. You know, and then you know, another few more hours went by, and that's when you go, I'm sorry, and he's like, oh no, it's not your fault. You know, it wasn't you who, you know, told me that this was a great idea and that people would shut up. Oh wait, it was you.
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, he wasn't upset, but it definitely was, you know, it's rough because, you know, people come in there and they expect, like you said, they can't outright sell it, but they expect to just show up, grab their freebie and run.
Right. That is unfortunately the expectation. Now, I've told my little local store who participates, Final Round Games, for anybody that's ever out in the Charleston, South Carolina area, stop in and see them. You know, it's the only gaming holiday,
right?
If it's actually such a thing, but it's for us, for gamers, tabletop role players, it's a holiday for us, right? Mm-hmm. So make it something, right? You know, Magic the Gathering doesn't do pre-release weekends. The other card games don't do pre-release weekends and stuff or release weekends on Free RPG Day. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the industry deconflicts, right? So it's our weekend. Make it a weekend. Make it RPG centric. Advertise the shit out of it. You know, promote it on Facebook, promote it in the local community groups, you know, get out there and pitch it and drum up a couple of game masters like yourself, like myself. Oh, it's not a Titterpigs episode until the cat comes and decides to hang out with us. You know, make it an all-out event, and he doesn't do that. Unfortunately, he doesn't do it. He'll get the kit, he'll put it out, and people will come in. Now he'll do a sale like, hey, if you're, you know, because it's Free RPG Day, all RPGs are 10 or 15% off, or it's roll your discount. Buy anything in the store, roll a D20, and that's the discount you get, whether it's 1% or 20%, roll your discount, you know, that kind of thing. And so he does a kind of a gimmicky thing with it as an event, but doesn't get game masters in there and doesn't really promote it up. And I think it's a opportunity lost, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stock up his game inventory either, and I think that's an opportunity lost as well.
There's a lot of game store owners that kind of follow that, you know, template, that motif. It's just kind of like they don't want to extend outside of their personal space. At least, you know, this is kind of like an old school kind of like, you know, point of view where like there was that game store in your neighborhood, and it did well as far as, you know, people coming in, but you never saw advertisements. They just kind of lived in this corner, and eventually just, you know, went under because of that. They were just trying to live on being this exclusive, you know, we're the game store, why should we spend money on promotion kind of thing? And
right. He does promote, and he does live off card floppers. I mean, that's his bread and butter. And he's got 2 stores about 20 miles apart. Card flopping is his bread and butter, pays the rent in both stores. I get it. I do get it. You know, then board games are secondary, and accessories, and then role-playing games are the bottom of the barrel, you know, in that list. I get it. Yeah. But when you want to get role players in there to buy product, and you say, hey, I'm going to have a sale on role-playing games, and you don't even have the basics, you know, you have just a smattering of D&D books and very little beyond that. I mean, you're really not catering to role-playing games.
Yeah. No,
unfortunately.
True. I mean, and, you know, Darren's in the same boat. Once COVID hit, and, you know, like so many people, you were told to close down. You can't have, you know, anything going on. But that's when he started, you know, he acquired a bunch of Magic the Gathering singles. And, you know, obviously he kept up his inventory with that, and he was selling online and in the back alley. just like he was a drug dealer, because technically you weren't supposed to go to the stores, but these Magic the Gathering people are addicts and utterly insane, but for good kind of, not woo. But anyways, well, there we go, Keith. We're going to get canceled for me saying going woo. But anyways, woo! but no, and it kept him afloat. And I got the privilege of taking a look at his his books recently after he opened up. He didn't, he just said, he wanted me at one point in time to invest in the company or in the business. And so he was, showing me, a proposal and whatnot. And I shit you not, Keith. I mean, a couple months ago, he pulled in 40 grand in Magic the Gathering sales. I mean, and obviously that wasn't all profit, but it still was enough to, make a little bit and pay off everything else. But that just boggles my mind that, 40 grand in just one store, mind you. There's card flopper stores all up and down the street that specifically focus on that, and they're making just as much money also.
Yeah. There's a lot of money to be made in cardboard crack.
Yeah.
Jacob does a ton of money in singles, whether it be Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I know the other two stores locally transit a lot of Magic the Gathering cards. I don't think they do the other games like Jacob does, the final round here right around the corner from my house.
Right.
But I know it's keeping the lights on for them. And there's still even a fourth store a little further away, and they do a lot of cards too.
Yeah.
They do quite a bit of role-playing games and Warhammer and that type of stuff. Board games, they're probably a little more like your buddy's store.
Yeah.
Now the big store here that you love when I go to.
Yeah.
Especially when I do like live video feeds from there. Like, hey, dig in that box. They do exclusively just Magic cards for card flopping, and the only singles they do is Magic. Now, when it comes to role-playing games, you've seen it. They cater to everything.
Yeah.
They have a ton of like Pathfinder, a ton of D&D stuff, and then it branches out from there. Call of Cthulhu, lots of Savage Worlds, the new vampire stuff, Traveler, Shadowrun 5th edition. I mean, it just runs the gamut, and it's just bananas on what they have. And then you start digging in boxes, like magazine size long box or short boxes of older inventory stuff that hasn't seen the light of day in years or decades.
Yeah. And
you just find crazy stuff. That's where I found you guys some stuff.
Yeah, no. And I kicked myself because I think at one point in time you had offered, he had, what's the old campaign for either Elric or Stormbringer? Is it Rogue Trader? Not Rogue Trader. It's Rogue something.
Rogue Mistress?
Yes. And I think it was still at the price, the original price.
Yeah, like $17.95 or $15.95 or something silly.
Yeah. And I passed on it. And
now it's gone.
Now it's gone. Yeah. And probably up on eBay for $89. But yeah, that's one of those moments where it's just, and same thing with Strategicon and, all these things, even though you guys leapt on a couple things, it just, there's that moment where you kick yourself in the butt. It's like, obviously, well, to be fair, nobody regrets not picking up Land of the Ninja for RuneQuest or whatever it was called. Yeah. No, they're like, no, throw that in the trash and pay him to throw it in the trash.
Right.
And light it on fire.
But it's crazy though. You go into a big store like that, and they've been around. The Green Dragon is the name of the store. And they had a different name in the mid 70s, but they've been around since about 1975, 1976. It is bananas how their catering of games has changed. They have a heavy board game presence, a heavy role-playing presence. But at one time in the 90s, they were a huge Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Crack dealer, in the area. And because that's when I used to play Warhammer Fantasy, and, I used to spend all my money there. And they were big into Magic then. They still are. It's the thing that still keeps the lights on. But at one time, that was the only place to get anime movies and cartoon series. You would go there and they had a video club, and you'd buy a membership, and then you could rent from them. They had their own VHS rental service.
Now, were these pirated copies or
No, legit.
Yeah.
They were actually legit. They probably had, I don't know, 1,000 VHS tapes. And then over time, those started switching from VHS to DVD to Blu-ray. And then he finally got out of it, years later.
Did he also have a bearded curtain in the back for his other videos he was selling, or?
That was very possible. Yes, very possible. And then he had so that was a service he provided. He did comic subscriptions. I mean, he had a plethora of different revenue streams and catering to. He even had a bank of computers. Like if you want, like when Evercrack was like coming up and MMOs were really kind of picking up, you could go play there and pay for time on a computer if you didn't have a computer at home, and pay to play your MMO there. And people did. So that's what's kept his lights on and stuff. It's crazy, but he doesn't do free RPG day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, it is a promotion write-off. So, I mean, it's not like, right. At the end of the day, I mean, you're at a loss if technically speaking, but you write it off as a promotion or advertisement.
Right. But he's got the inventory, like role-playing game inventory, to really make a day out of it or a weekend out of it as a role-playing holiday. The thing is, he knows as well as anybody that role players don't spend money.
Sad but true.
That's fact. Because they're going to bring their books.
Yep.
For the most part, they're going to bring their books. They're going to buy some snacks, but they're going to bring their books. They're going to bring their buddies. They're going to sit and play a game if they even come at all. And then they're going to buy some snacks, and then they're going to go home.
Right. I mean, unless someone gets a sudden inspiration to run something, it's, you have your set of books and everyone shares them and you're good to go. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the truth. I mean, we spend money, but I agree with you, like, individually, but if all 5 of us were going to a store to run, Brancolonia or whatever, and if it was a good game and it's on the shelf, it's 50-50, well, that was fun. We'll see you next week. But unless it's something that, really grabs someone or they're a collector, they're like, no, I use his books.
Yeah, exactly. Because, the game master's running the books for, running the game is bringing the books, and he's got the milk crate full of books. We've had this conversation before, right? Bringing the milk crate of their Pathfinder books or their D&D books. And it's, and they got 10 or 12 books in there, and then they got everything they need for everybody at the table.
So I'm looking at the chat, and, Bud, being prolific as always, asked if we were having Vinegar Sultanas on, which kind of reminded me of that, outside of him just being who he is, he's kind of in the RPG news recently, primarily because of the, are you aware of the changes from Drive-Thru RPG that just took hold a few days ago?
No, I am unaware of those changes. What did Vinegar and Spice do this time?
Well,
those changes.
For the most part, there's nothing really controversial. There's a couple things that, even though they don't outright say it, was inspired by, Venture Satanas and what he offered up on Drive-Thru RPG. If I remember correctly, I'm obviously that would require research for me to look it up. But if I remember correctly, after the controversial change or before the controversial change with Roe versus Wade here in the States, he put some sort of, heinous RPG just to be a dick. This is hearsay, but this is kind of, I'm sure we can go look it up and know exactly what it is. But primarily, that's what it was.
Let me go look.
Yeah, it's gone. And after it was removed, they did make certain changes to their their rules, so to speak, on not only what you can put on through drive-through without written consent. They're not putting a full-on censorship on everything, but there's certain touchy subjects. That's right, Derek, whatever. We'll call him Derek. But
we can just call him a douche.
Right.
Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry, listeners.
Allegedly. You remember, in order to protect yourself, you always have to say allegedly.
Oh, allegedly. He's allegedly one.
But anyway, so the rules themselves are kind of one, so a lot of the things that, harm, if you're going to harm a child in your game, if you're going to do certain things such as that, you need to present it to them. This is what my story is going to be, and they have to vet it. I don't know if that was the case prior. I mean, I'm sure, it was kind of like if someone saw something and didn't like it, they would complain, and then drive through would then decide, whether to keep it on or not. But I don't know if this is a new thing, because I mean, we know some people who are very creative in a lot of their horror games and whatnot, which may contain aspects of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not familiar with their change.
Mm-hmm. But the big thing though is if you have issues with Drive-Thru RPG, and whether anything to do with how they handle and conduct themselves, and you go on to social medias and disparage or say anything negative about them, they could potentially see that as combative marketing and cancel your account.
Good on them.
Yeah. So I mean, for example, once this whole thing and Venger got his stuff taken down, or he was about to, he was using this as they're taking my freedom, and America, and everyone has the right to do whatever they want as long as it's me doing the stuff that is okay. Everyone else, they can F off. But yeah, so I mean, and they are taking a bit of a stance regarding this kind of thing. Now, whenever there's any sort of censorship involved, unfortunately,
right,
there may be a few casualties because of that. So hopefully there's not, but that does put a bit of I think it may make certain things a little bit more difficult, or people question what they put on Drive-Thru as far as certain aspects of their game. But more importantly, they're trying to stop you putting your piece on there, your RPG. It's not selling. You're blaming Drive-Thru. This is nonsense. And they're trying to shut me down, and they're trying to censor me, and then they'll go, well, stop it, or else you're going to be taken off. And if you continue after your warning, you're gone. You're permanently banned from Drive-Thru with that account. So yeah.
For the record, I just pulled up Venger's website. So just because I like to do my research.
Yeah.
So
okay,
let's dissect this a little bit.
Okay.
So first off, I'd like to say PayPal should investigate him because he's trying to avoid their terms and services. So
yes,
I'm just on the record. PayPal, if you're watching, which I know you're not, you should investigate him. So obviously he doesn't like their stance. He doesn't like anybody's stance except his. So we all know that. We all accept that. And yes, Paul, demonstrably is probably a better term than what I used. He's allegedly demonstrable. Yes.
Yeah.
He has stated on his website that if you want his anti-abortion themed Chalt scenario, send him your Drive-Thru RPG email address. If you want his alternative pride scenario, you need to PayPal him your $3 and give him your Drive-Thru RPG email address. Mm-hmm. But send it to him as friends and family, so he states so he can avoid the 50-cent fee.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
avoids terms and services since he's a business.
And he has that live.
Oh, it's right on his website.
On his blog.
Right on his blog, yeah. I mean, come on, dude.
Which by now, hundreds, if not, several hundreds of people.
Tens of people have read this.
Oh, well, no, I'm not talking about his followers. I'm talking the people like who specifically follow him just to, show people, what an alleged douche he could be. So there's people who've taken snapshots of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've already, submitted it to.
I wouldn't be. It would not surprise me. I mean, I'm not going to submit it. He's not worth my time and effort. No. But it wouldn't surprise me if others have already done so.
Right.
But yeah, this is in apparently that's in response to. I'm guessing it's hard to read his ramblings here, but maybe he can't sell those on Drive-Thru anymore. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah,
do
Paul.
I care.
Two people have read it. His mom and me now, apparently, and all of you by proxy.
So, anyways, here we go. Is this it? Let's see. Yeah, the community guidelines have been updated and changed. So, it's people are calling it the Venger clause or the Derek rule or something like that. So, that's what's new and going on with drive-through, so to speak. So,
well, I for one don't have an issue with it personally.
Right.
I mean, if you're promoting like super duper cringy hate speech stuff, then your shit probably deserves to be in a bin. Where's that fine line between art and the artist? Well, that's a point of debate and discussion.
Right.
Are they going to come down with the super ban hammer? Probably not. I think they're probably trying to make sure that people like him don't throw into the mix scenarios or product that are purposely misleading and demonstrable and scapegoating and instigating when there are these big political pendulum swings like we just had with the Roe v. Wade and things like that are very sensitive. And others soon could potentially follow here in the US. Where people are very supercharged about it on either side.
Yeah.
And
so, I mean, it's not the platform for that. I mean, if you want to bitch and moan about whatever, go do it on your side.
Well, apparently he's found another platform to go take his hate-filled crap to. I don't know what this website is. I'm not going to say what this website is, but apparently you have to pay to have access to his stuff. So,
Dr. Mitch has popped in, and we apologize. Keith will get out a squeegee, and he'll wipe down his screen, and hopefully that effect will,
I'm gonna go bleach
over.
my eyes. So, I'm just gonna have like white eyes when I'm done. I'll be blind. I'm gonna bleach my eyes.
Yeah, and. But Venger thinks sophistication is sticking unnecessary apostrophes in sentences and laughing at people who mispronounce his nonsense words. So yes, Eric.
Eric.
Yes, we got the joke once. You don't need to continue with that. So, but yeah, and then we got Dr. Mitch again. What gets me is he's likely to be the first to moan about making things political. Yeah, I mean, what the F is this if not political? And that's that weird kind of snake eating its tail situation with people such as that. It's like, hey, let's not have politics in our game, okay? So by the way, here's my new game that makes fun of Roe versus Wade or any other situations that's happening in America, but it's not political. Yeah, or
Pride Month or transgender or pedophilia or whatever his topic du jour is.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, so wipe down your screens. We'll move on, to something else. Something
I feel violated. I need a shower.
Yeah. Just have another drink. It'll clear it up. And I'm having a hard time. I'm trying to open. I've got a Samuel Smith's nut brown ale here, and my bottle opener won't open it. So I hope I hope it's still okay inside, but we'll figure that out later.
Use your teeth.
Dude, do you not remember me, chipping my tooth a while back and how long it took to repair that thing? Oh, that's right.
So the VCon is next, is in like 2 weeks. It's like
I think
later
it's the same
this
time
month.
as Gen Con, isn't it?
Is it the same weekend as Gen Con?
I don't know. That requires me to look up something else.
Oh, hold on. I'll go back.
No. Okay. Well, while you're looking, question: have you played Alice is Missing?
I have not. I have it. I've reviewed it. I want to play it. Where's Lloyd when we need him? Because Lloyd loves that game.
Would you be interested in seeing a movie based on Alice is Missing?
That would be fantastic. I bet you that would make a great movie.
Well, good news, because it is actually in the process of becoming a movie. I believe it was just announced last week.
Are you freaking serious?
Yeah. Alice is Missing is getting a film adaptation, and it's actually going to be someone, I don't know, obviously when something like this is announced, it could be 3 years from now. It could obviously go into, script hell, whatever the case may be, but officially, I don't know the gent who created Alice is Missing, but and once again, I could look it up, but anyways, he announced that it's been optioned as a movie.
Wow. So okay. I'm excited about that. I love the concept of it. Everybody I've talked to that's played it has really enjoyed the game. I've never run into anybody that has not enjoyed the game. They have the whole idea of like the first 90 minutes or so is there is discussion and stuff, and there's the game setup where you're building your town and doing all of the community play stuff, and then you have the last 90 minutes, because that's where you have the running timer, and then everything goes silent and you're playing with your cell phones or through an app,
right?
Like WhatsApp or whatever you're using, text messaging, and then everything at that point, there's no speaking. It's has really enjoyed it, but once you kind of have to get over that mental hurdle of, the 90 minutes of the game is absolutely quiet, because you're supposed to be, technically it's like you're playing remotely. So you're not in the same physical space as somebody to be able to have that conversation, and that's what that's mimicking. But if you can get over that mental hurdle, it can be a lot of fun. So Tony asks, is it going to be a silent movie?
Well, when I found out, I cracked the joke. It's going to be the first movie where you're actually encouraged to bring your phone out and be on it through the whole movie. So that begs the question is it going to be somewhat interactive, or is it strictly, just going to be everything on screen and you're just watching what happened? Because I've never played it, but you said you've read it and reviewed it. Yep. Is the quote unquote Alice who is missing? Is there a singular reason why, or is that just for whoever is playing it to come up with?
No, so there are variable options. There are, if I remember correctly, there are 3 different options that are drawn at random.
Okay.
Basically like the scenario premise of why Alice is missing. If I remember correctly, as to why Alice is missing, and that's what the players have to find out why she's missing.
Okay.
Through the gameplay, through the narrative unfolding.
Well, obviously it's in good hands. The designer's name is Spencer Stark, and he's co-writing the script with a director. Her name is Becca Gleason, I believe, and it's being produced by Temple Hill, which has produced.
Stark also did not Kids on Bikes, but if I remember right, I think he did Kids on Brooms.
Okay.
Or Teens in Space, one of the two.
So Temple Hill is actually the production company that houses and has produced some of your favorite movies, Keith. The Maze Runner, which I know you've watched from beginning to end, the Fault in Our Stars, and all the Twilight movies. See, what you can't see is behind Keith's chair, even though you see the One Ring on the side, what he's blocking is his entire Twilight collection. Every book, okay. Sorry, that's my wife. But yeah, so it's once again, the Alice is missing. Is
Twilight the one that's in Louisiana?
I don't know.
It's the movie series.
Sparkly Vampires. I don't know.
Are they in Louisiana? Can somebody answer that? Is that in Louisiana? Ask your wife. I know she's off camera.
She's asleep. No, she's in worse shape than I was this morning.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. For those who just popped in,
better her than you.
We celebrated technically the 4th of July yesterday, because tomorrow is not a holiday and she teaches summer school, and she did not want to go in like she's feeling now. So we had a few people over, and we had some drinks late into the evening, and I woke up a little bit worse for wear, but she is still out and we're recovering. So but yeah, so so
I've seen True Blood.
Oh yes, that's the other vampire movie.
I've seen those sparkly vampires.
Yeah, those aren't sparkly, but a lot of them are damn sexy. Yes, my
so I've seen those. So
yeah, my wife is a Skarsgård fan aficionado, and if I'm not mistaken, Skarsgård is on that ridiculous list that some couples have of if by some random chance I get locked in a room with Alexander Skarsgård or whoever, one of the Skarsgård brothers, and you're not there, I'm allowed to pursue him. And they're like, sure, by all means. But anyways, so yeah, now as Alice is missing, is the scenario with kids? So, I mean, this is like a young adult kind of thing that's going on through the whole situation.
They are all Alice's friends. They have some type of connection to Alice.
Got it.
Alice, there are different Alices, that are chosen at random. And so there's a card that'll depict the type of Alice. So, and then, her spider work of friends, and that's who the players are. It could be a boyfriend or an ex-boyfriend, and it's, a best friend, an estranged friend, somebody in passing from school. It's this network of acquaintances, some closer than others. Alice has gone missing. There's, a wanted poster, and nobody knows why Alice is missing or where she's gone. But in the end, you find out what happened to Alice.
Okay.
Excuse me. And if I remember right, there's like 3 possible outcomes, 3 or 4, but I think it's 3 possible outcomes as to what happens to Alice.
Okay. So you technically you have at least the replayability 3 times.
There is replayability with it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Especially if you're using a different group of players. I would definitely use a different group of players just because you could end up with some commonality between games.
Right.
I'm trying to remember where I have my copy. I think my copy's in a box.
Yeah, it's a small little box too.
It's a very small format box. I don't have it handy, otherwise I would open it up, take a look at it real quick. But
sorry, I was working on removing this. So
nice. Yeah, it's a nice game. It's got a small form factor. Everything's in this nice little box.
Yeah.
There's an app that I believe is fully integrated with Discord.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. I was laughing at Sue's comment. My husband forced me to watch the baseball scene from Twilight, which is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen on film. Sue, I feel your pain because likewise, my wife made me watch it in all the movies. And yep, I just sat there with a smile on my face and watched the clock tick by and and okay, great, that's over. She's like, no. There's 4 more. Oh God, my kidneys are bleeding. So I should probably go see a doctor right now, but I guarantee you we'll watch it later. But yeah, it's an acquired taste.
Returning back, let's come back full circle to BarfCon. Vinegar and Saltines Con 2022.
Oh, Eric Con. Wait, hold on.
Eric Con.
I take it back. No, it's Eric Con. But go on.
Excellent. That is the last weekend of this month.
Oh.
The last update on the tabletop events page, which is what links from his last blog post about that we were just previously talking about. His news update, last one posted, was from February of this year. At that time, he posted publicly that he only had 14 attendees. There is no schedule posted. I thought there was, but apparently there's not. So event schedules come up blank. So I don't know if that's a good sign or bad sign.
Hey man, we're just going to improvise this thing,
But it's on Friday the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of July in Madison, Wisconsin. It's limited to 100 people at $100 each for the entire weekend. And it's nothing but old school OSR and traditional RPGs.
Yeah. Well, we have time. We can go there first before we go to Gen Con.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, perfect. Tony's going to go for his birthday. So Tony, please let us know how it goes, and take a lot of bleach. You're going to need to sanitize yourself. Some lye soap. You're going to scrub all your skin off. Okay, we're done talking about that. Yeah. So your newest
hot mess.
One of your newest purchases was Brancalonia, which you mentioned earlier.
That was a gift. That wasn't a purchase.
Oh, that's right. That was a gift. But one of your latest acquisitions, so to speak.
Yes.
I received something in the mail that it's an older game, and it's one that I've never played, and it's one of those things like I do sometimes. This only costs $10. Someone was selling it. When people post RPGs or things outside of the category, that's kind of where you find certain deals, because if you look at it by name, you may find something outside. They're selling socks, a coffee mug, and a copy of Amber Diceless Role Playing.
Oh, and you got it for a $10?
Yes.
Holy Jesus, that's a steal.
So, but I know the history of it. I have never read the stories of fiction, so I'm completely unfamiliar with the setting itself.
Right.
But have you played it? I mean, do you
I
have
have
any
not.
Okay.
I think I've owned it twice. Every time I try to get it read, I either get bogged down in it or some other new shiny comes through the door and I'm like, oh,
Right.
new book. And then I get sucked into something else.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm looking forward to page through it because obviously the aspect of diceless role playing, whether it's whether it be a tongue in cheek joke or people are serious about it, there's kind of like a division of like if I don't get to roll me dice, I don't want to give it the time of day.
right.
Whereas people who aren't rolling dice, this is I'm not going to say this was like the beginning of let's just tell a story and we don't need the dice to determine how things go because I'm not familiar with the game. But yeah, I guess it's it was innovative. I mean, he was one of the authors, wasn't he, for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Palladium game? If I'm not I think he was. I
believe so, but don't quote me on that one.
Yes, Amber was instrumental in getting the Evil Hat guys started on their journey because they did a version of it. I forget what it was called. But yeah, they kind of, I believe it was, yes, Wujik. Anyways, the primary reason that I wish I'm almost at that chapter in the Designer and Dragons audiobook, which is available and out there now, listening to the 90s, and there's a whole chapter on the Amber diceless role playing and kind of like how it got very popular and then, but
right
now have you played anything that is diceless besides that, or
have I? That's a good question. I got to think about this.
Well, for example, Alice is missing. There's no dice involved in that, is
no,
there?
there's no dice, but I have not played it.
Right.
I got to think about that. God, I mean, nothing's coming to the top of my head. I guess, I'm more of a trad gamer in that sense. I like my dice. However, I own games, obviously, that don't use dice. Like I have a Las Vegas, which uses tarot cards, but I haven't played it. I obviously own Alice is Missing. That's
So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
we need to play more diceless games.
Or the one. But yeah, I would like to at least read one of the the fiction novels just to kind of get a general idea of the setting, because I know people love it. There's people who swear by the setting. I'm not necessarily a role playing game, but
because Amber stuff, I remember right. Is that Roger Zelazny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read a few of them, but God, that was decades ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have to reread some even before I ventured into that.
So besides your DCC game that you run, have you got any other gaming in, this past weekend or week?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
Oh
Impossible
my God.
Landscapes.
Impossible Landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my gaming these days is work is bonkers Monday through Friday right now. So gaming's been kind of relegated back to the weekends like an adult, and it sucks.
So you and I are in the Impossible Landscapes game. Without spoiling anything, how do you feel things are going?
I can't say anything without spoiling it.
You can give a look, because
what I can say is, can I have that bleach? Can you pass the bleach?
Yeah. Well, like as Bud pointed out, Marvin is still just walking around the hotel, just screaming, just
yeah. Happy rat hunting, everybody. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a absolute bonkers campaign, and we have only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
We just played I think
26?
Bud can confirm this. I think that was our 26th session in just over a year. Because we play every 2 weeks, give or take, with some longer breaks in between for family reasons and whatnot.
Right.
And it is absolutely fantastic campaign, but because of decisions we've made in the game, we have missed sections, entire pieces, parts. Yeah, okay, so Bud confirmed 26th.
Yeah.
We've missed pieces and parts of it because of decisions we've made have taken us down different paths and corridors within the story, which is I love a scenario or a campaign that's designed that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not linear in any capacity. It
Right.
has all kinds of sidings and turnings and multiple pathways to get to the end. And I have no idea where we are, what we're doing, how we got here, how do we get out of here, how do we find the end, what's at the end, who we are, where we've been,
Right.
who I was, who I will be, and what's real and what's not.
Right.
And have we done all this before? Because I'm really not sure.
Yeah, that's just to know. I saw Sue's chat pop up, and yeah, Sue's playing in it also. And I've seen, you know, she kind of has a bit of veiled updates, you know, when
Right.
she updates it on Twitter. And you know, it is surprising because I kind of feel like, and there's other people who've done it, that they're in different, you know, sections, and they've progressed farther than we have for the most part. But yeah, it seems like everyone has a totally different experience, but yeah, equally horrible.
I'm watching the things, the comments pop up in the chat about it. Yeah,
but I do have to say though that we would probably be, if we were streaming this live, we would be the most boring Let's Play ever, because there's entire sessions of just us discussing what we're going to do. And then the next session we'll do it, and then we'll pause, and then we'll discuss what we're going to do next. And so there's a lot of kind of like these, you know, leapfrog moments throughout the whole game. And it's because we don't trust anything.
No, we don't even trust ourselves.
No, we don't trust ourselves. You know, there's literal times where I'm banging my head against my desk, and just to the joy of Bud, you know, watching just me grind my teeth in utter frustration, as you know, not just my character but as a player too, you know. And we've coined this wonderful phrase for when things get ultra, you know, intense, and then, you know, just, you know, fucking debt willer.
Yes.
Yeah, and which, you know, is not, you know, meant to say anything disparaging against him. It is just an expression, you know, when things get really heinous.
It's meant with all sincerity and love.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
it's meant in a good way. Sue, I need to read your comments, your veiled comments on your blog, and get caught up on them on your players' experience. Because I want, you know, because I'm sure your players are having in a good way, a horrible experience, just as horrible as our experiences in a good way. Because it's everybody's experience with Impossible Landscapes has to be different, because there's so many different pathways, even to where we are in the story. There's so many different ways you can go and things you can do to get to where we are, like things that we didn't do or should have done, could have done, might have done, maybe didn't do.
Yeah.
Thought we did, but didn't do.
Oh yeah.
Thought we didn't do, but we did.
There's a lot of things that I'm sure are going to bite us in the butt because we either did or didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
or things that we did. And I've got 30 some odd pages of session notes that I've been taking. And there's more that we've forgotten about, because they were like handwritten notes somewhere else, and from like the first session that got lost somewhere. So we've got almost 40 pages of notes somewhere.
You should give it to people who have actually played the game and completed it, and everyone can just compare their insane rambling notes. Because I'm sure if you just read them straight out, it would sound like you were out in the woods writing your manifesto before you sent out the next, you know. It would read as if an insane moron, made mindless notes.
Yeah, while playing a bonkers game. That's exactly what was happening. So when you get Pookie twitching in discomfort, you know you've cracked him. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was my question. Was kind of a veiled attempt. You know, obviously, yes, we've played Impossible Landscapes, but you also played something else this week. With Pookie.
Well, okay, so you want to talk about the
the
unicorn in the room?
We should,
okay.
You know, for those of you who aren't aware, it wasn't last Christmas. It was the previous Christmas, I believe. It was for your birthday. For my birthday, okay. For my birthday, I received a copy of, you know, one of the greatest role-playing games of all time, and then after I set aside, you know, this beautiful, you know, Warlock game, you know, that Pookie sent. There's this other box, and as I opened it up, you know, there's a raptor on the cover. There is other things, and Tingleverse, this is funny. And knowing what Keith knows, and obviously what other people tend to follow, is if you provide someone with a gift, an RPG game, they're obligated to run it for you at some point in time. So thus began the many weeks, months, almost well over a year.
And a year and a half.
Yeah. So when are we going to run it? How about next Thursday? Great. And then next Thursday would come up, it's like, oh, I'm busy with work. Let's reschedule.
It became 2020 never, but 2020 never finally happened last week.
Right. So eventually Keith and Debbie, who I don't think is here currently, and Pookie, they were part of the let me look it up real quick. Just so I don't want to misquote my own game. Hold on. Here we are. And
Sue wanted to hear about this. So yes, Sue, welcome to our Tingleverse.
So Keith, and Keith, you played a unicorn, right?
Well,
ish. And Debbie played a raptor.
Yes, named Blue.
And Pookie decided to just do his own thing, which was awesome. And he brought back Frau Blucher from
Not doing it.
DCC Dark Trails.
Yep.
But he wasn't playing Frau Blucher. He was playing Heidi, the goat who actually saved the day when they were down and out and about ready to die. In the DCC role-playing game that I ran, almost 2 years ago. They tossed the goat at the demon, which ended up knocking him back into his portal and saved the day. And from that point on, Pookie was always known as the goat tosser. But anyway, so back to Tingleverse. So Frau Blucher, Heidi the goat, Debbie the raptor, Keith the unicorn. They were all employees at the Billings I-90 Gas and Gulp Mini Market, Shoe Repair, and Detective Agency. And they were sent out to investigate and find the reasoning for the disappearance at Ram Ranch. Yeah. So that's
fantastic. So let me give you Keith's impression of the game. Since Scott ran it, Keith was a player. So Scott devised the scenario all himself. This was not anything that was published by Dr. Tingle himself. This was not part of the Tingleverse book. It was a very interesting scenario. It dealt with movie characters and electronics and just general weirdness, flashing back of sorts to like old TV movie characters coming to life. It was very, very cool. The characters were a menagerie of bonkers. Yes, Bud gracefully declined to play. For the record, yes, Bud, we know. And everybody else should know, but Bud would have made a great character in this game. I know it. I just know it. Another raptor with assless chaps. Bud, you would have done a fantastic job. So Debbie's character was named Blue. It was an orange raptor with blue stripes. Kind of a melancholy type character because Blue knew he was a figment of Dr. Tingle's imagination. Heidi the goat was fantastic as with her sidekick Frau Blucher, who was a strange, promiscuous old German woman. Yeah, that was always fun. I've run into Frau Blucher in a Weird Frontier scenario before too. So because that was the third time she's been in a game now.
Yes, I believe so, yes.
And then my character, Marty, I modeled Marty as a unicorn, but actually Marty was a zebra in disguise as a unicorn. There was no zebra stats, but there was a unicorn. And I played him like Marty from Madagascar, so he was really obnoxious. But he was very charismatic, and he had a fetish. And the fetish was fantastic. He had a butt fetish, so he was always talking about butts and looking at butts. And when he could, he would sniff a butt. So it was just... It was one of his his characteristics, one of his things that he had that I had to pick something. So I'm like, fetish butts, why not?
Right.
It was Tingleverse.
So yeah. So what it was a local dude ranch / resort spa that was just outside of Billings, Montana. And so, but it's one of those where people pay good money to go pretend to be cowboys for a day.
Wow, we start talking about Tingleverse and our viewer count goes down. Great.
But yeah, so it was, I gotta say, and I think we're all in agreement here. As much fun as it was to run the game, and we just, went, gone so crazy and just had a great time with it. And a lot of innovative kind of, just weird for the sake of weird stuff within the book itself. The rule set / system
sucks.
Is busted. I mean, it is literally, yeah, it literally was just, we were constantly having to stop because it had this odd ascending, descending dice situation where, if you have a plus in something, it means a negative to your die, similar to that going away. And if you have a plus, if you have a negative, it means plus, but only in certain instances. So sometimes you were trying to roll over, sometimes you're trying to roll under with a 20-sided die. And it got to the point where the game got dragged down so much, we're just like, just wing it. If we know if it's a good roll, great. We know a 1 is a critical failure, 20 is a critical, success. So if that happens, we move on.
Yeah, it just got, I don't know, the stupidity of some of the just adjudicating the rules was problematic, but
right.
The narrative was fun. The story that we told was fun, and we want to play part 2, Scott. So you're gonna have to write a second part to that.
Oh yeah, no, the Billings Gas and Gulp, Mini Mart, Shoe Repair, and Detective Agency crew will live again. And what was your mystery machine? It was a what was it again?
It was an Edsel named Eddie.
Yeah.
It was a convertible Edsel, and I remember we were driving down the highway, headed out to the Dude Ranch, and my unicorn horn was on a little cord. It was my disguise. Right. And as we were driving, it was starting to slip back. And when we stopped at the Dude Ranch, I had to snap my head forward to put my horn slid down my head a little farther, and I had to put it back into place. That was the first indication that I wasn't really a unicorn.
So, but you guys successfully solved the mystery of the disappearances at Ram Ranch.
Yes, but it left us on a cliffhanger that we have to continue with.
Well, the general manager there, you recall his name? What was it? Say.
Well, I was calling him Cupcake, but
no, Peanut Butter Cup.
Peanut Butter Cup is his real name or nickname, but I was calling him Cupcake.
Yeah, so there was, it was
his name was Peanut Butter Cup.
It's the book itself and the game is as ridiculous as you think it's going to be, and not as erotic as you would expect it to be. As far as some of his other books are done, but there's leanings towards that. But you could still have, a tongue-in-cheek fun time with the setting and some of the ridiculous aspects that yes.
Would you call it family friendly?
No.
Sure.
I mean, well, it can be. I mean, there's plenty of what would be considered standard role-playing tropes within the game, but there's also the man with no eyes with penises for hair, or no eyes or mouth with penises for hair. So no, I mean, well, it depends on your family, I should say. So
okay,
I guess it may not be family friendly for my family, but others, if that's the way they roll, then more power to them. But yeah, so yes, if you're looking for someone who is wildly creative and just puts out a bunch of ridiculous stuff, it's a book that you can pull stuff from and have fun with it, whether you run it straight Tingleverse or you're just using the ridiculous stuff that he has in there. But for the most part, oh God,
it's Tingleverse.
Run it.
You said straight. That's funny.
Run it with something else. The rules just so.
Tony, yes, your son would find it hilarious.
Yeah, and now it goes on the shelf to gather dust with
till the next
games.
Scenario, till the next session. Yes,
until you send me one of the hey Scott, guess what? There's a bestiary. Happy birthday. That kind of thing.
Yes, or the scenario book.
Yeah. So yeah, I just realized it's been a busy week because on top of that, I ran the current version of Deadlands for my son and his friends, which we had an absolute blast with. I know you're not a big fan of Savage Worlds for the most part, right?
Fair. That is fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But I mean, but you don't like it's not like Tingleverse. Like I hate it. I don't want to play this again. It's just not your cup of tea.
Right. Not my cup of tea.
but no, they absolutely loved it because I introduced them to Deadlands years ago, and they loved that version of it. And then when I backed the Kickstarter, it arrived, and like so many things, once the Kickstarter arrives, you're busy doing something else. On the shelf it went.
Right.
But no, they made characters. They had an absolute blast playing the game. It's different, than there's some things that they've removed from the previous version of the Savage Worlds Deadlands that I still have to kind of get to terms with. But for the most part, it seems to be more streamlined than what it was.
So Deadlands or Weird Frontiers?
Oh, when Weird Frontiers arrives, yes. I mean, I'm DCC fanboy, but they want to play Deadlands. It wasn't me pushing the game; they actually wanted to play it. Okay. So I
That's
will.
Fair.
Comes to my son and his friends. I will gladly run whatever they want. Just the fact that they're asking is 90% of it all. So
gotcha. So,
I
remember when my son used to ask for me to run games. Yeah, I remember those days. Now he's almost 21, and not anymore. So
yeah.
Well, God, we've been doing this for an hour and 15, my friend.
I know. Do you have anything going on this afternoon?
I've got the the in-laws to hang out with.
Okay.
It is 4th of July, so
Yep.
we gotta do those family things today.
Well, my dad just came here. He wanted to come over for a little visit, so I'll be hanging out with him.
You guys got RuneQuest today too, don't you?
We do have RuneQuest today. Yes, later this afternoon we'll be joining Pookie's campaign. Me, Bud.
Say hi to Verena and dinner for me.
As she's running across the landscape.
So, as you see my character running after her bison up on the horizon on a ridge line, chasing after it, if she's not being drugged behind it.
Oh, Pookie just signed on. Hi, Pookie. Glad you could join us. It looks like we're kind of wrapping up here. But you were mentioned several times, one way or another.
Definitely related to villainy and scum, but yes. We've dunked the tea in the harbor. Mm-hmm. What else have we done? Fancy some tea? We have plenty. I'm gonna make tea here in a few minutes downstairs, and then I'm gonna throw the rest in the Charleston Harbor.
Okay.
Or I'm gonna do what the Colonials did in real life. I'm gonna hide it with the gunpowder under the Provost Marshal's dungeon in downtown Charleston for 2.5 years.
So yeah, no, I mean it's a day to celebrate the reason why we're here, and that's because a group of religious zealots that were uptight too much for even the British were sent over here, and thus this wonderful thing that we live here now has come to where we're at.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for kicking our forefathers out.
I mean, you could have just sent us to, I don't know, Scotland. You didn't have to send us all the way over here. Things would be so much better. But anyways,
I don't think it would have been any better in Scotland.
Great. Well, there goes our Scottish demographic. Thanks.
Oh,
Steve.
Yeah. We dropped by one. See, look at that shit. Wow.
Well, what are we going to do with our, plus or negative, Scottish listeners that we have in our analytics? So
we'll see our one Scottish fan at Gen Con, because we'll be in Gen Con in a month.
Now, since Doc Cowie lives up there, is he officially Scottish or is he just there living? I think that's our one Scottish listener.
We will ask Doc Cowie when we see him at Gen Con in 30 days from today.
Yes. Cool. Well, everyone, thanks
he buys us all a beer because he's a doc, and he can buy us beers.
He can afford it.
He can afford it.
Well, everyone, thank you for popping in. This was a nice little experiment for both of us to kind of get our feet wet in the streaming thing. We've made sure that it's actually being recorded this time.
Doubly recorded.
Doubly recorded, right? Because we'll be sending this out as just for fun, just an audio podcast, but it will also officially, once we hit stop here, it will drop onto the Titterpigs YouTube channel, and good times.
And we'll get it out, and we'll get it out on Anchor probably in the next week. Yeah.
And next time we do this, we'll actually have something to talk about, not just pull stuff out of our butts just for fun. So be prepared. We will actually prepare. Speaking of which, before we go, what's coming up with Titterpigs? We're going to hopefully be talking with a couple people before we head to Gen Con, one of which is the reason why we're doing this today was, Guy, I'm sorry, what's his last name?
Milner.
Guy Milner, who he was going to pop in and we were going to have some chats about one shots and, playing games at cons, how to, maximize it, his ideas and suggestions, since that's his specialty. And we will be having a special guest. Do we want to announce that yet, or do you want to wait for it to actually record? Because I have no problem if you want to keep it, top secret.
We can we can announce that. That's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, it's
later this coming week, we are going to have in the studio. We're going to have David Larkin from Chaosium. He is the line editor for the Pendragon product line. We're going to have him in the studio, and we're going to have a nice conversation with him, talking about Pendragon, his other game, or his other book that he wrote, Berlin, for Call of Cthulhu, and just some other GWiz stuff we're going to talk about for a while, and we're going to get that out before we go to Gen Con, so that'll be out before the end of the month as well.
Yep.
And we've got a few other irons in the fire. We're just trying to line up, get those little ducks in a row, and make all those connections. And we're gonna do a live recording, quasi live recording at Gen Con still, because you're gonna have myself and Scott in the same place with Bud and Pookie and Debbie, because we're all going to be housemates.
Yep.
We all rented a house together at Gen Con, and who knows who else is going to show up, because we're going to do a barbecue, a cookout at the house. That's our plan anyway. So hopefully we're going to maybe have some other guests at the barbecue. So try to get them in a recording as well. So who knows who's going to pop in on that thing.
And there'll be plenty of pictures, other things that are going to be updated. Brits with guns as they visit Walmart, and we take them down the gun aisle encounter. That wonderful, wonderful thing. IHOP, pancakes, certain wonderful things that it is Gen Con, and it's all about.
I look forward to getting a picture of Pookie at Walmart with a gun in his hand.
Oh, I want to. You've been to Walmart, obviously. So
I live around the corner from one.
There's a T-shirt that I want to put on Pookie as he's holding the gun in his hand. So with the hunting cap, duck whistle, just the whole 9 yards. So.
Excellent.
Yes. Well.
All right.
I think we will call it and move on with the 4th of July for everyone. Thank you everyone for popping in, and like I said, and helping us figure this out and do this. So this is something that we can start doing more and more, and just, it's fun interacting. Although I still prefer, one-on-one chatting, but this is a way to keep people at a distance, like Tony.
We love you, Tony.
And all the other little people. No, I'm kidding, Tony. So, well, Keith, it's been great. And so
we'll need to get Pookie drunk. Yeah, we can do that too.
It's a date.
Let's do it.
It's
all right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Have a happy 4th and Treason Day.